As we wait for warmer temperatures permanently, high school track and field athletes get ready for their outdoor season with several indoor meets. And one of the biggest ones is Saturday's Nick 10 Indoor Championship at Hononegah High School. Belvedere North and Hononegah are the reigning boys and girls champs respectively. Let's see how they did this year. Hano takes home third for the boys. This is Cohen Lee, who hurdled 60 meters in less than 9 seconds. Moving to the 4x800 relay, Belvedere North keeping pace at the top. They eventually win the event as the Blue Thunder place second. And the G-Vikes are the boys' team champs thanks to athletes like Hayden Johnson, who won a near 2-mile-long event. Now moving to the girls' side, what a performance from Auburn's Essence Norton Graves, who wins the 60-meter dash, folks, by 1/100th of a second to help the Knights place third. In the 4x800 relay, Boylan held the early lead, but Hano takes that spot in the second leg. They win the event and they place second as a team. And Guilford also takes the individual girls team, the team title. One individual champ is Madison Harmson, who wins the 800-meter dash.